Okay guys, this is Tanya from Tea Talks 93 and I am going to go over Sister Wives season 19 episode 8. It was a pretty interesting one this time. Let me get my paper out because I had some notes. So this one was called A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. Christine, it starts out she's in Utah. She's getting ready for the kids to officially meet David. I guess the girls, except for Gwen, has not met him yet. Peyton is just getting introduced on this episode to David. They talk about, I think was it Christmas traditions? I don't remember. I want to say it was Christmas. It could have been Thanksgiving traditions that they are learning from the mom. And they said that they wanted to continue some of the things that like Mary and Janelle had continued throughout the years. I think they mentioned like Mary's like haystacks or something like that. So that's pretty cool that they have taken some of the traditions from the other moms and continued them. The kids basically are trying to haze David. David comes in like, this is David, and I think Peyton's called him Richard, which probably was a not nice term because what is that shortened down to? So I don't know if that's where he was going with that, but that's where my mind goes to. So that wasn't very nice, Peyton. Anyway, David takes it in strides. He's used to having a bunch of kids and little ornery things too, I'm sure. David talks about having two sisters that were in polygamy, so he understands how that process kind of works. And he's like, yeah, I can meet Janelle and all her kids, and those are your kids too because you helped raise them. So that was pretty cool of him, and much easier for Christine to not have to explain it, and you know, him being weird about it. So that was really cool. They talk about getting married in October, and they still weren't engaged. The kids are still reeling about how fast it is, that they're moving so fast, like the relationship, and then now they're talking about getting married. I think they only knew each other like 2 months when they started talking about getting married, so just really fast. David asked, so I think it was Peyton asked, like, are you going to ask her dad's permission to marry her? And Christine was like, actually, he did do that. And Dave was like, yeah. So her dad said, yeah, pretty quickly. And he actually made a plate of food for me. And then they were all surprised because I guess Christine's dad he's older, so he has a hard time getting around. So they're like, oh my gosh, he got up and moved over there to get you a plate and did that for you. So he must really like you, right? So I hope that is the case and continues to be the case for the rest of their lives. So we'll cross our fingers. But I did note, and I haven't heard anybody else see this or say anything about it, but while they were talking to David and giving him a hard time, he was actually holding one of Mykelti's babies in his arms and rocking it back and forth. So they trust him with the babies. They trust him around their other kids and things, and he is like adapting to them very well and taking it in stride. So I thought that was pretty cool. Christine talks about on their second date, David went with her to the Little Mermaid, and she's like, yeah, I saw it on video, but it was really cool to go to the actual theater and do it as a date. And you know, that's the part where she's like, yeah, he had the perfect opportunity when they talk about kissing the girl, and he didn't do it, and not until the third date. So that was pretty funny. Mykelti felt like David really fit in quickly, and he like took their sarcasm and wasn't bothered by it at all. And they're like, yeah, he had 8 kids himself that he was raising on his own, so he probably can handle quite a bit. And then it pops in Cody in and out sometimes after they're having this discussion. So Cody pops in, he's on the couch, and he said, well, I think the goal of Christine leaving was so she could go and find her soulmate, and I wish her well. And why does Cody miss the whole point? That is not why she left. She left because she was being treated unkindly, unfairly. She wasn't being heard. She wasn't having her needs taken care of by this person who supposedly is her husband, who supposedly is supposed to be her person, right? And that wasn't happening with Cody, and that's why she left. He wasn't helping with the kids. He was ignoring the kids, and she's like, if I'm going to do it by myself, why do I need to be here? So Cody just misses the whole point again, and pretty consistently. So Aspen talks about when Christine and Cody were together in Las Vegas. I guess that's part of why it was such a big shock for the kids too. Is like, they were very sweet together in Las Vegas. I would see my mom and dad dancing in the kitchen, and I thought that was so sweet and loving, and it was a picture of a decent marriage, right? And then what happened later. So Tony starts joking about, oh yeah, so when Tony and McKelty were first engaged, and it shows like when Cody and Christine were on the chairs or whatever, and McKelty and Tony were talking about getting engaged, and when that was going to happen. And I think they wanted to do it like 2 months after, was it Maddie? I think when Maddie got married. So I can understand, like, from the parents' standpoint, if they're having to pay a bunch of money for this big lavish wedding and then have to turn around and do it again a couple months later. It's hard financially to recover from that. So I can see from Cody's perspective that he wanted to have a little time between, and he's like, give it 6 months, give it till December. And they didn't understand, and Christine was more of, it's too fast. Why are you wanting to do this so fast? Is it so you can be physical together, or what's the deal? Which was kind of gross, but they made him wait, and they ended up, Tony and McKelty got married in December, and it was really cold, and everybody had to wear coats, and it wasn't as nice as it could have been. So that was pretty sad that they made him wait. But now Tony's like giving her crap because why don't you wait? What's the rush? You can wait until December, you know, that kind of thing. So it was pretty funny. And now Christine's like, I know, I didn't realize at the time that, you know, McKelty saw him as her soulmate, and I didn't realize because I didn't have that experience. So that was good that she acknowledged it, she owns it, and she and Tony just give each other crap about it. So pretty fun. Janelle talks about the fact that David has raised 8 kids on his own, and it was kind of a barb, I thought, that she said, and he still has a relationship with all of his kids. So I was like, was that a barb against Cody maybe? It was kind of suspicious, just a little bit. Cody talks about the good times he'd had with Christine, but he says, I can't be friends with her because she betrayed me. How many times, Cody, are you going to say that she betrayed you? She did not betray you. You betrayed her. You abandoned her. You abandoned Mary, you abandoned Christine, and you abandoned Janelle. And you stayed over with Robin, and Robin may have this great, fantastical relationship with Cody, and hats off to her, good luck for her, but that's the case. He abandoned everybody but Robin and her kids. He abandoned all of his kids from Christine, Mary, and Janelle as well as the marriages, 100%. And I wish that Janelle and Christine would go and get releases from the AUB just to be done with it, because in my mind, I'm like, I kind of wonder if Cody still thinks that he's covered with his 3 wives, because Mary's gone, but he still has Janelle and Christine and Robin in the background, and they're not getting releases because they don't think it counts. Does he or does he not? He says he doesn't, but I don't think that's true. I think he got his big old ego and feelings hurt, and the AUB is not happy with him, and I think if they released him, then I think he would be very upset about it, and I think it would matter to him for sure. Cody is talking about it being his 55th birthday on the next part. He's struggling with his values, lost his sense of direction, probably because he no longer believes in the religion and doesn't know what to do with himself now. Just a thought I had. He talks about having this sweet place with Robin, and he can trust her, and he's having all this guilt about the OG3 kids, and not having a good relationship with all of them. and which is his own fault, and he keeps blaming the moms for not having a relationship with his kids, but he could call them directly and not have to go through Janelle or Christine or Mary. He can talk directly to the kids and fix it with the kids. It doesn't have to go through them. So do it, Cody. Anyhow, Robin talks about Cody being lost, and she's like, he's just sad and he's so upset about not having the family, but yet he did this to where this is where the family's at. So he needs to show more accountability. He's starting to, it sounds like, but more needs to happen. Cody, she talks about Cody being in so much pain, and she's afraid that he is afraid that Robin will leave him. And I'm sure he makes her feel guilty, and then she's like, no, I'm not leaving you. But should she? That's a good question. Anyway, Cody reflects on his purpose from years ago, and he's like, his main goal was to be a good father and be surrounded by kids and wives. And he would like to get back to that, being that good dad. And he has a covenant with God to do so. So if this is really the case, then he needs to figure out what the actual true steps are of doing that, which is contact your children, ask for forgiveness for the things you've done, show that you're going to change, like physically, action-wise, and not placate them and give them excuses and do the opposite, and then nothing's changed. You have to change, or they're not going to forgive you. Be more involved with all your other kids, and then, listen to them and not just take one family side over the other kids. And then Robin misses Cody loving his kids. Like, she keeps talking about, like, when she first came into the family, how good Cody was with the kids. Sorry. He obviously is not like that now, so he's just let his kids go. He has done nothing to have a good relationship with the other kids besides Robin's. So they blame the wives, the ex-wives, and he should be blaming himself. He should be blaming himself because he cut himself off from them. That's the end of the story. He cut himself off from them. He was not accessible to them. He talks about, well, I need to be accessible to my kids in a couple seasons ago, and the wives aren't letting me. Well, that's bull. You have access to the kids. The kids are old enough. They have cell phones. They have other ways of communicating. Text them, say, hey, let's go bowling, or let's go fishing, or whatever, and have a relationship. None of the wives were going to prevent him from doing that. And he acts like they were, but none of them ever prevented him from spending time with the kids. He could have done that at any time. Christine and David go ring shopping, and she was talking about Cody just went and got the Claudia ring for her when they first got married, and she didn't get the opportunity to have that experience of doing something together. And she's like, this is really cool that me and David are going to go pick out some rings together, and I get to choose what I want, and it really means something to her then. Christine appreciates, Mary wants, so they talk about the style. So Christine gets this, was it a marquee, I think, and then it's got different color band, which looks really cool, I think. And then she added a black, because David wanted a black band, so she added the black to kind of go with that. And so I thought they were pretty, and that was pretty cool to do together. Mary, it kind of cracked me up, because was it last season that she was talking about, like they were doing the carriage house or starting to get it ready to do, and she's like, no circles. I hate circles. No circles. And then she's like, I don't like marquee. I want a square. I'm like, yes, Mary, you like squares. We all know this. Anyway, it was pretty funny, I thought. And then Janelle, she just feels like, I just want to keep it simple. Keep everything simple, not make a big production out of everything. I would just take a simple band and that's it. but neither Mary nor Janelle are at the point where they're talking about getting married at all. And they're like, we're totally not ready for that, but someday in the future, maybe. Cody says he was fine with Christine dating. Oh yeah, so he pops into the picture, and I guess they asked, like, when do you think it's too fast for Christine to be dating, or when do you think it would be appropriate after the divorce or whatever? He's like, as far as I'm concerned, she could have been dating on the day she left. He's such a jerk. Yeah, so he just says things to dig at people and to, I don't know if he thinks he's making Christine look bad, but he's not. He's making himself look bad. And I don't know how he doesn't see this. Does he not review any of the things that he has said on the couch? Because that's usually when he goes off, is when he's sitting on the couch talking to the producers or whatever. So, just has no clue, no gauge in his sensitive ability to be sensitive. But I think he's a liar. I think it really bothered him when she left, and he probably would have freaked out if she started dating on the day of. They talk again about how polygamy focuses on the big family and not the couple's relationship, unless you're Cody and Robin, of course. This relationship, yeah, so Christine feels like her and David's relationship, that's focused on them. It's not the kids, it's not outside people, it's the two of them. They have a close relationship, and that's what she really wants. And then it was very sweet. David talks about how happy he is with Christine, and that he waited for 8 years, I think it was 8 years or however long after his wife passed away, and he's like, I finally found someone that I can spend the rest of my life with, and he's just so happy. And then the next clip, it's talking about Janelle and Cody. They go to a restaurant and they meet to discuss what they're going to do with Coyote Pass. And Cody, he's so weird. Like, I haven't seen you in 2 years, Janelle. I haven't tried to communicate with you or make things right with you or talk to your kids and make things right with them. But are we going to get back together? Why would you think you're getting back together? It's so weird. He comes in, he's all giggly, and he's like, well, this is intimate. And I'm like, right, it's gross. It makes it all awkward. And then I can't imagine being Janelle sitting there like, what are you talking about? What is going on? So Janelle's like, well, I'm here to talk about business stuff, not about our relationship. Because in her mind, she's like, I was pretty sure this was all over with and we were considered divorced or split up or whatever you want to call it. But we are not together anymore. And then he's like, you sure? Cody. Anyway, so Janelle asks Cody if he wants to buy her out of Coyote Pass. And he's like, well, you just jumped to the end. You didn't even talk about our relationship or what's going on with us, with our personal business. And yeah, she just looks at him like, what are you talking about? He's like, what about us? And I'm sure Janelle's like, what do you mean, what about us? The fact that neither one of us has cared about the other one for the past 2 years in order to get in contact or go out to dates or nothing. Nothing has happened with us. So you just abandoned that whole thing. Both of us just let it go, really. Like, she agrees, like, I haven't cared about it, he hasn't cared about it, so it just kind of dissolved and we're separate. But you could see her, like, blinking, like, what are you talking about? That was kind of funny, how her face, if you haven't seen it, or if you have seen it and didn't notice, go back and watch her face. It's kind of funny. She's just like, what are you talking about? And she also told him, I don't think we're in a world that we don't exist in a world where we can be together. So, or her exact words were, I don't think we exist in the same universe. So basically, like, she's got her things that she loves to do. He's got his things with Robin that he likes to do, and they don't have commonality at all. So, so you don't like things to do together, then relationships really are not going to work. Janelle talks about how happy she is to be alone, and she doesn't really miss him or miss being with him. She's good. She likes her freedom and her ability to pick up and go do whatever she wants because it's just her now. All the kids are grown. Janelle told him that that there's no marriage, and then he like really acts stupid about it. It's so crazy. He keeps talking about getting back together. Well, is there any way we can get back together? And they've had this conversation multiple times, Janelle says. I'm like, I don't understand what he doesn't get. And then he's on the couch and he's like, you know, if we got back together, I'd have to give her some power, and I'm really not willing to do that. Well, why are you talking about it? She's already said we're separate, we're divorced. And then he's like, you sure we don't want to get back together? Why don't we want to get together? So weird. And I'm like, that is such a fake discussion. And I thought, like, he doesn't want to be accountable for his issues that he's caused. And is this some kind of manipulation tool for him to get out of giving her part that she financed into Coyote Pass and to Robin's house? So he's trying to make it to where he can string her along. I think he's going to try to manipulate some paperwork and stuff to try to get from giving her what's owed to her. And then some other people have pointed out, like, if like this was a family thing and they weren't married legally, and if there's nothing on paper saying that she owns anything, then she may be out of luck, right? But I think, like, they talk about, oh, I meant to take a picture of like the Coyote Pass, how they split it up into 4 pieces. They're not even pieces at all. Like, there's 3 different people on 1 piece or 2 pieces, and then Cody and Robin are by themselves, and Cody's on like every piece. But they should at least get portions of those. And if they were to like sell it or whatever, I think the women are going to get I hate saying it, but screwed over, because Cody is on at least half, if not a third, of each of the portions. So Cody would get half of the whole thing, and then these other women would get like little parts of whatever they were to sell it for. So that's pretty messed up. Anybody that's going through this or plans to get married might not end up, always put things on paper, man. Make it legal so that way this stuff doesn't happen. Prenup, prenup, prenup if you're, monogamous people, because we've seen other people get totally screwed out of their money, their belongings, stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know if people like go in manipulating to get these things, or if they just do later just to mess you up. I don't know, cause you problems, because they don't like the way the relationship ended, so they're like, I'm gonna cause you problems so that you walk away with nothing, and it's a ha-ha on you, right? Anyway, so I thought it was pretty cool because Janelle calls Cody selfish and self-absorbed to his face. I thought that was awesome, and I loved seeing his face, like he was shocked and he turned red, like he was embarrassed. He didn't argue with her though. I thought he would like get angry and say something back, but he didn't. He did ask, like, well, since COVID happened, or was this all the time? And she's like, I think it was all the time there, and I just didn't notice until recently. So that was hilarious. I loved it. Totally true. A lot of people saw it even in the beginning years, when the show first started. I remember specifically one time, like, they were all getting family pictures in, I think it was Christine's backyard or something, and Cody was really getting mad because they couldn't get all these 50 people or 26 people, whatever it is, all together and smiling and looking at the camera in one way. And you could see in his face how angry he was. And they played it off like, oh, his blood sugar is low or some such baloney. But I felt like at that time that this was the true Cody that we were looking at. And I felt like he was about to snap. So I've often wondered if that's when his breakdown, or whatever you want to call it, started, even before, way before COVID. So yeah, so she called him selfish and absorbed, and then she says that the kids talk about how dad was back then versus now, and is a totally different person. He's not the happy-go-lucky, loving dad anymore. He's bitter and angry, and you can't treat all your relationships like that, especially your kids. Like if you're having a divorce or multiple divorces or whatever, you can be angry about that, but you have to have a relationship and be kind to your children, because they're going through it too. It's not just you. They're having their world split apart. Their mom and dad are breaking up. They don't know any different. So it's so hard on the kids, and then when one or the other is being mean, then yeah, it's going to cause a bad place for your relationship with your kids. And that's Cody's whole problem with those kids, and I don't understand why you can't see that, but that is the case. Janelle also calls him out about Cody focusing so much on Robin's house, and Cody says that Robin's a safe place, and Robin, she comes in on the couch or whatever. Yeah, I'm the one that always gets blamed whenever there's problems, and I'm like, boo-hoo, Robin. You're the one that gets all the rewards. You're the one that he cares about. You're the one that he cares what the children are doing and helps you out with the children. And he should have been doing that with all of them. But Janelle notes that they have nothing in common anymore. And like I said, if you don't have anything in common, then a relationship really can't work, because all you could do, you just sit and bicker about each other, not say anything. Makes for a miserable life. So who would want to do that? And if she's got a way to get out, then now's the time. Robin told Cody a confident. Cody asked why Janelle and Robin couldn't have a decent friendship or a good sister-wife relationship. And Cody's like, well, for example, I had this incident where I was talking to Robin. They were looking at buying the McMansion, people call it, which they have now sold. But and I said, Robin, please, if there's anything you can do to not buy this and rent something instead, so we can all get out to Coyote Pass, then please do it. And Robin's like, yeah, that's what we'll do. And then Robin goes and I guess tells Cody about the conversation, and like, don't buy, please rent, or whatever. And then Cody like snaps on Janelle and says how mean she's being to Robin and taking up for Robin, which there wasn't even a conflict really. It's something that Cody started this, honestly. I mean, I don't really blame Robin either. You know, it's not like a secretive confidence or anything, I don't think. To talk about, that's a financial thing. Cody really should have been, not to say anything bad about Janelle, but Cody should have been involved in that conversation anyway. And Robin shouldn't be the middleman. And Robin, I think when she tells Cody things, it stirs the pot. And I don't even know if Robin does it on purpose or not, or if Cody's just like, you're automatically being mean to her, and I'm going to get on to you for not being nice to her. So I kind of wonder if that is the case. I don't know that Robin means to be the crap stirrer, but she seems to be a crap stirrer, maybe non-purposefully. Anyway, so Robin's like, I didn't tell on Janelle. And apparently you did. It just shouldn't have been as big of a deal as it became. And then Janelle talks about, so she's talking about like having some issues with Robin, and Cody basically like shuts her down, like, you can't talk bad about her, she's my safe space, blah blah blah. And Janelle's like, so that's your sacred cow, I can't say anything to you about her. He asked her why not a relationship, and she's explaining things, and she's saying something that may not make Robin look nice, and Cody's like shutting her down and getting angry with her. And she's like, that right there is why we can't have a marriage or even think about getting back together and being in a plural relationship, because I don't have an equal playing field. Robin is up here, I'm down here somewhere, and I'm not going to keep looking up at her because I don't feel that she is this great, wonderful person that you make her out to be. I mean, Janelle probably doesn't have that much of a problem with her necessarily, but Cody puts Robin on a pedestal and is overly protective with her. So there's no relationship that you can have with anybody else if you're that way, in a plural relationship. And I'm sure, like, if you went back to the AUB, like I've said many times, I'm pretty sure that with polygamy you have to have a religious reason to do it or it won't work at all. And even with religious reasons, it often doesn't work anyway. But I think if she went back and told the AUB, this is what's going on, he only cares about this one woman, he's like abandoned me and my kids, she would get her released really quickly. I know it. I know she would. And probably the AUB would be very happy to give it to her. And then call Cody while he's driving somewhere with Robin and upset him. That was funny. Good job, Mary. Okay, and then the last segment goes into Mary's carriage house. It's all done. It looks really pretty. I'm like, that's nice. That's great. I'm glad Mary has friends that help her do things. One thing that I did like about this segment, otherwise a little bit boring to me, but what I did like, and I think other people have mentioned, that Mary says this: if they don't want you at their table, make your own. And I thought that was very profound of her to say that, and very cool. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, if my exes and my family don't want me around, then I'll find friends and loved ones that are cool with me and will come have Thanksgivings and other holidays, parties and stuff with me. So that was really cool. Goes back to Janelle. Janelle calls Cody out for his bias with Robin. Cody says, Janelle always plays this victim card. And I'm like, no, she doesn't. She's trying to have a conversation with you, and you're shutting her down, and she's calling you out on it. Cody's so stupid sometimes. Anyway, Janelle says this is a male thing to do. When she speaks up, he's always like saying that she's playing the victim when she's just taking up for herself, which makes total sense to me. Robin is the sacred cow. Yeah, we talked about that, and Cody's like denying it. Janelle talks about her spiritual beliefs. She's like, I don't know, if I have to go somewhere and dissolve this marriage or what now, because she still believes in some of the things, but they are not, how do you say this? She's spiritual. She still holds some of the beliefs that she learned in the AUB religion, but they don't go to church. They don't participate in the religion itself. They don't have, I don't know what the term, like the leader, minister, whatever he's called, prophet, I don't know what they call that one, but they don't follow one anymore. So she's like, I don't know who I would go to. And Cody just scoffs, like, don't pretend you believe in that crap anymore. But then he also later is like, I'm struggling with what I believe. So maybe Janelle is struggling with what she believes, and maybe she still believes in the faith and you don't, and why are you trying to dissuade her? She can believe in whatever she wants to believe in. So Janelle says Cody doesn't want another divorce. That's why he's like talking about getting back with her, and it's his ego is hurt, and I 100% agree with that. Janelle says she was kind of laughing about this, and I did too, because I was like, she's 100% right. With him talking about maybe getting back together, I think his ego is so hurt that he doesn't want, so this would be the third divorce to go on his record, because it would hurt him more, and that's why he's trying to talk to her about possibly having a relationship. It's not that he loves her or anything like that. And he says she's considered a failure in the AUB because he lost all but one of his marriages. Cody tells about, oh yeah, so Janelle, he's like, well, if I don't buy you out, are you going to build up there on Coyote Pass? And she's like, yeah, I might build up on the hill or whatever. She's like, I won't get the small house then because we're not going to be married, but I'll build something bigger and be up there. And he's like, well, it'd be kind of weird for me and Robin to live by my ex, and so maybe we'll just leave the area. So he drags them to Flagstaff. Has it been 7 years yet? Isn't it about 6 or 7 years is when he talks about moving? I know he just bought, so he sold the McMansion. He bought, what do they call it? Like Debt Castle or something like that that's been going around. So he brought this really huge house, and it has like mother-in-law quarters or something where guests can stay, and big land and stuff. Anyway, he bought a great big place. So I can't imagine he's actually going to leave Flagstaff, but he was talking about not wanting to live next to Janelle if they're going to be divorced. And then my thought was like, what? You were just talking about trying to get along, get back together, and having a relationship with your children. He said that Janelle is kind of the pathway to having a relationship with his children, but now he doesn't want to be anywhere around her. So if he was around and like a neighbor or whatever, and the kids come visit Janelle, then they might stop by Dad's house. It's so weird. He always talks out both sides of his mouth, I think. Cody asks, it was pretty interesting. Cody asks, why didn't Maddie call me to tell me about her pregnancy? And Janelle's like, well, the kids are feeling estranged from you. You haven't made an effort to communicate with them or go visit the little ones, and you haven't seen the other kids in like 3 years, so why would she tell you anything if you don't have a good relationship? And so basically he's not showing any interest in her kids. And she tells Cody, I don't want to be in the middle of this, but you need to communicate with your children and leave me out of it. And I agree with her, because every time, like, he's like, can you help me communicate with the kids so they'll listen to you? And she's like, the last time I did that, you blamed me for getting it wrong and saying things that you didn't want me to say, which you told me to say. So he, like, again, he talks out both sides of his mouth. And he says, no, the reason why I don't have a relationship with Maddie is because of jealousy and gossip. He's clueless. I don't understand how to make it more clear to this guy. I wish he had a psychiatrist, a very a counselor that can really get to the bottom of his issues and help him, because I feel bad for Cody in a way. I mean, he's done this to himself. He's not a nice person in general to, 3/4 of his family, but I think he's got something going on that he needs to talk through with a counselor and see if the counselor can give him ways to start rebuilding his relationship with, at least with his kids. And then he talks about Janelle betraying him, because whenever Christine left, she felt bad for Christine, and she hugged her, and she's friends with her, and she goes over to her house, and she's met her boyfriend and all this malarkey. And I'm like, they were together. Janelle and Christine helped each other for 30 years with their kids. They have a relationship with each other's kids. Of course they're going to be each other's lives. And they don't have Cody in the middle to fight over, so the relationship is much easier and better. And Cody, I think he's probably realizing that he was the problem in their relationship, and that's probably really bothering him, I think. And then he basically is like, I'm not doing Janelle any favors on the property. I'm not going to worry about paying it when she wants to do it. I want to do my own thing, and that's how it's going to go. And then Janelle basically is like, I guess I'm just going to have to get a lawyer up and see what we can do to get this all straightened out. And I think that's going to be the only way that she's not going to get screwed over. So go for it, Janelle. And please, 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 I would love to hear that you went to the AUB and got a release. And please, please, Christine, go to the AUB and get a release. I don't even care if you don't believe in the religion or participate in the religion anymore, but I would love it if you could just sever that altogether, because if you feel it's true at any level, if Janelle thinks it's true at any level, if Cody thinks it's true at any level, especially Cody, that they will be together in the afterlife, then that needs to be severed so he knows that that's not going to happen. And a lot of these religions, like I've said before, they have the 3 tiers of heaven, and they want to get to the celestial kingdom of heaven, and that's the highest tier. And in that celestial kingdom, they're supposed to be reunited with their wives, their multiple wives, and that's how you get there, is to be a polygamist and do it well. But if you're still attached, and some of them are like you have to have 3 or more. So if he is no longer attached to these other 3 women, then he's not got the 3 or more. So that would probably rock his world, and I would be interested to see what he would do with that information. So anyway, some interesting things that came out of this episode. I'm looking forward to the next episode. It looks like it's going to be spicy. So I'm also going to listen to, I think Mykelti and Tony are on right now, or they will be soon. But I'm going to watch the replay probably tonight and see what they have to say about this episode. That'll be pretty interesting. Ask them some questions if I can catch them, and go from there. But you guys have a good week. I'll try to see you next week. Hopefully nothing crazy is going to happen, but see you next week. Have a good one.